Hi, greetings everyone. In this video, we will understand how to update the schedule. Updating your project schedule is crucial, but you have to be smart about collecting data and updating your project status. That way, team members aren't overburdened with status reporting and you can update your schedule without spending too much time. The first thing to think about is what information you are going to use to update your project. If you are manually updating your project file, you really want to update the tasks, not assignments. That way you have fewer things to update. If it also helps you to have a table set up with all the fields that you update. So I'm going to apply a table that I created here specifically for updating. On the View tab, click on the Tables drop down here and you can see the custom heading and there's an Updates table. So I'm going to apply that. The first column after the task name is Actual Start, and that makes sense because when you start to update tasks, the very first thing you are going to put in is the actual start date. But then after that, the next two fields are actual duration and the remaining duration. That's an easy way to update the tasks. Basically, you say how much duration has been done and how much is left to do. You can also use percentage complete and remaining duration because it calculates the same thing. One thing about using the duration is it really is tracking work days. So if you want a little bit finer resolution, you can also use actual work and remaining work. And that way you track down to the hour. There are also few options that you want to set in the project before you update. So to do that, go to the File tab and click on Options. The first setting is in the Scheduled category. So scroll down to the Scheduling options for this project section and take a look at the Split in Progress task. It's turned on by default and you want to keep it that way. That means if there are gaps in when the work gets done, you shall see that reflected in your project file. Then scroll down to the Calculation options for this project. The first setting in the Updating Task Status updates resource status. If you are updating the tasks and not assignments, you want this checkbox turned on. That tells the project to take the values you enter for the task and roll them down to the individual resource assignments. On the other hand, if you are going to update the resource assignments, you want to turn this checkbox off. The rest of the options are in the Advanced category. So click on Advanced and then scroll down to the bottom. So here we have the calculation options for this project section. Now these checkboxes have really long labels, so they might look a little intimidating, but they are actually pretty easy to understand. The first one you want to turn on, that's move end of the completed parts after status date back to the status date. What that's really saying is if work is completed and it's after the status date, that's saying that the work was done in the future, which you know can't happen. So by turning this on, the project will move all the completed work to occur in the past. The next checkbox is move start of remaining parts before the status date forward to the status date. What that's really doing, if you turn that on, is it takes anything that's incomplete and moves it so it starts at the status date. So in effect, what you are going to see is a task that starts and without a gap doing it to its finish, so you can turn on. The next setting move start of the remaining parts before the status date forward to status date. The next setting, move start of the remaining parts before the status date forward to the stated date U. The next setting moves start of the remaining parts before the status date forward to status date. You want that turned on, because what that's doing is it's saying that work that's incomplete doesn't schedule before the status date, that is in the past. Well, it's not going to get done in the past anymore, so you want to move it forward to the status date, so it's scheduled to occur in the future. And then the last checkbox and move end of the completed parts forwarded to the status date, you can turn that on or leave it off. It's really up to you. If you turn it on, it shows the taskbar without any gaps. Well, once the project are all set, click OK. Now before you start updating, you have to give a status date. So go to the project tab, click the button for status date here and choose the status date you want. Say I want the status date to be 16th September 2014. I'll say OK. Now you make updating a lot easier by looking at just the tasks that you want to update. So the first thing you might want to do is turn off the summary tasks. I'll go to the format tab and turn off the summary tasks checkbox. You also don't need to update the completed tasks, so you can apply a filter to just show the incomplete tasks. So here are all incomplete tasks. Go to the view tab and select the incomplete tasks on the menu, and now you can see all the work tasks in the project that aren't complete and you might update them. There are several different situations when it comes to updates. The first one is the easiest one, and that's a task that's completely on the track. It occurred just as you planned. So we will use hire contractors to show this one. You select the task, go to the task tab, then in the schedule section, simply click on mark on track. And now you can see that the percentage complete is 100%. The task bar is sitting right where it was scheduled and it's showing as complete. Another situation is a task that's complete but didn't occur according to the schedule. So to see this one, I'll choose finalize lease. In this case, go to the mark on track, click on the down arrow and choose update tasks. Now you can see the update tasks dialog box, and it has a variety of fields that you couldn't fill in to specify the status on that tasks. In this case, we will put in 12 days for actual duration, and the tasks is complete, so the remaining days will be 0 days. The original duration was 10 days, so this one is running a little bit longer than the scheduled one, but it is complete. When I click on OK, you can see over the time scale that the dark blue progress bar show that it's complete, but it does push it out because it did take extra time. Now another situation is a task that's not complete and it's not going according to the plan. That could be ahead of or behind the schedule. We'll use inventory office for this example. So I select the task, go to the mark on track here and select the update tasks again. In this case, the scheduled duration will be of 25 days, and in this case the actual duration will be 10 days and the remaining days will be 8 days. So I'll say OK. So it's going to take a shorter duration than planned. Now when I click on OK over in the time scale, you can see the progress bar goes in the status date and the incomplete work is scheduled to start right after the start date, status date. I'm going to use the identify additional costs task to show one other update, I'll go to the mark on track and open the update tasks dialog box one more time. Right now percentage complete is set to 65%, but when I change the actual duration to 20 days and the remaining duration to 5 days, well, 20 days out of the 25 days are done, so that's 80%. So look what happens when I click on OK. Project recalculates the percentage complete to 80%. Now there's one last way to do an update, and that's for really quick and dirty updates. It's not very accurate, but it is fast, so it's an option if you want to use it. I'll select inventory office again, and to show how this works, what you do is you right click the taskbar. To show how this works, what you do is you right click the taskbar in the time scale, and then you see this shortcut menu that has buttons for the different levels of percentage complete here. I can just click a button and it will change it to 75%. After you decide what status info you need to track, you can make the updating for your schedule easier with some simple setup steps in the project. Then you can update the tasks in the project using the update method you prefer. I hope the concept is clear to you. Thank you.